Ever wondered if the secret to youthful skin might just be chilling out in a fish tank? Or maybe if your next sunscreen even apply as a lip balm, how could that change your daily habits? Welcome to the Deep Dive. Our mission here is pretty simple. We take your sources, all the articles, the research, notes, and pull out the most important nuggets, the key insights. Think of it as your shortcut to being really well informed without getting buried in information. So today, our deep dive is based on the Consumers 360 News commentary, Consumer Trends and News. That's from June 17th, 2025. And this commentary pulls directly from the consumers.app website, which is, well, it's a great aggregator. It gathers news from all over, categorizes it. It gives us this really fascinating snapshot of consumer trends right now. And what we're seeing today, there's this strong theme running through it all. It's about how our choices, they're increasingly driven by wanting products that are good for us, sure, but also good for the planet. More sustainable future. It's like the rise of the conscious consumer, and you see it everywhere, from skincare to fitness tech.
That's absolutely right. And today we're diving into a really diverse range of topics that perfectly illustrate this shift. We'll be looking at some, well, frankly, surprising skincare innovations. We'll get into our changing sun protection habits, the future of sustainable packaging, even cutting-edge fitness technology, and how to stay active when it's boiling hot outside.
Okay, this sounds fascinating. Let's unpack it all. Let's dive in. So let's kick things off with a headline that definitely made me do a double take. It's from Rolling Out, and it says, "The slimy stuff in your fish tank is revolutionizing skin."
Yeah.
I mean, you hear that and you think, really? Could something that sounds so, well, mundane be a skincare superhero?
It really could. And it's pretty fascinating science behind it. Consumers Research talks about this compound called fucoidan. It's a sulfated polysaccharide, right, found in brown algae. And it's known for having these amazing protective properties. Good for human health, animal health, too. In skincare specifically, it's used because it helps protect the skin from, external stresses. And it promotes cellular repair, helps your skin bounce back.
And it's not the only thing coming from the sea, is it? There's more.
Correct. There's also something called algironic acid. That's a mix of polysaccharides, but this time from microalgae. It's marketed more for its anti-aging benefits. You see it in products like from the brand Alginist. Helps reduce signs of aging, improve skin texture. And dermatologists are interested because these marine algae contain natural bioactive compounds. They repair skin at a cellular level, offer enhanced protection, and because they're natural, there's often a lower risk of side effects. It just sort of works with the skin.
Okay, what strikes me here isn't just, a new ingredient. It feels like a blueprint. How these blue economy ideas can tackle climate change, help local economies, and change industries like beauty. So how does this slimy stuff, as the headline calls it, impact the environment and the economy more broadly?
Right, the bigger picture is really interesting. Seaweed farming itself, environmentally, it's a big win. It's actually a carbon negative crop, which means it absorbs CO2, so it has real potential for climate change mitigation. And economically, it supports jobs. It helps take pressure off traditional fishing. Get this. The global market for seaweed extract was valued at $16.5 billion in 2023. That shows huge growth in demand. It's becoming a major player.
$16.5 billion.
Yeah.
Wow. Is that mainly the beauty industry driving that, or is seaweed popping up elsewhere too?
Good question. Skincare is definitely a big part of it, but it's broader than that. Right now, China and Indonesia are the big producers, like over 87% of the world's supply. But what's really telling is that between 2018 and 2019, places like Alaska, Maine, even France and Norway, they more than doubled their production. That kind of rapid growth shows demand is rising across different sectors. Food, agriculture, pharmaceuticals too. It's become this really versatile, sustainable resource.
So let's bring it back to the practical side. How are these extracts actually ending up in products we might see on the shelf? And what about those economic ripples?
Okay, so in skincare, you'll find seaweed extracts in things like creams, masks, serums. They're valued because they're hydrating, anti-inflammatory, packed with antioxidants. Basically, they help improve skin elasticity, hold moisture, fight aging signs, and connecting that back to the bigger picture, expanding seaweed farming. It can genuinely boost local economies, especially coastal ones. Creates jobs, helps reduce overfishing pressure. It's this amazing example of finding multiple solutions from something we used to just ignore, That slimy stuff.
It really does sound like a win-win. Good for your skin, good for the planet, good for local communities. Amazing. All right, moving on. Let's talk sun protection. Always important, right? Especially this summer, maybe around the corner for some of you. This next headline is from Cosmetics Business. Can stick innovations encourage greater sunscreen use? Now, I'll admit, remembering to reapply sunscreen is my weak spot. You're out, you're busy, maybe holding a coffee. Messy lotion is just not practical sometimes, so the idea of less spill definitely catches my eye. How much does convenience factor into your sunscreen routine, listener?
Oh, convenience is absolutely huge. And sunscreen sticks are, well, they're different. It's a solid stick format, right? Like a deodorant stick or maybe a big lip balm. That makes them super convenient, easy to apply precisely, especially on your face, nose, ears, places that are tricky with lotions. And they contain the same kinds of UV filters, mineral or chemical, offering that broad spectrum UVA, UVB protection.
So apart from just being less messy, what are the key benefits that make these sticks appealing for everyday use?
Well, besides being easy to use, they're portable, much less likely to leak in your bag. And they're great for reapplying on the go. You can even put some over makeup without smudging everything. Their compact size just makes them easier to carry. And that encourages more regular, consistent use, which is absolutely crucial, right? Consistency is what helps reduce the risk of skin cancer and premature aging. This isn't just like changing the shape of the bottle. It's almost behavioral science. You remove those little friction points, the mess, the hassle of reapplying, and suddenly you can change a health habit. It turns a chore into something seamless.
That's a really powerful point. Okay.
Yeah.
But are there downsides? And what about the environmental angle?
Yeah, there are a couple of things to consider. Sticks might not cover large areas like your back or legs as easily or quickly as a lotion or spray. You might need to work a bit harder for full coverage there. Also, some formulas, especially the mineral ones with zinc oxide, can sometimes feel a bit heavier or leave a slight white cast. So you still need to check the SPF, make sure you're applying enough to get the protection you need environmentally. The main concern historically has been around chemical UV filters. Some have been linked to harming coral reefs, which led to bans in places like Hawaii. But the industry is definitely shifting. There's a big push towards reef-safe ingredients and more sustainable packaging. Consumers are driving that, being more mindful.
That leads nicely to the bigger industry view. How do regulators see these stick sunscreens? And what other trends are shaping the market beyond just convenience?
Regulatory bodies, like the FDA here in the U.S., oversee safety and labeling for all sunscreens, sticks included. Manufacturers have to show they're safe and effective, that they deliver the protection they promise. And broad-spectrum protection UVA and UVB is what's always recommended. Trend-wise, consumers increasingly want clean, natural ingredients. They like products that do more than one thing, maybe moisturize or have anti-aging benefits too. And definitely, sustainable packaging and reef-safe formulas are huge trends. Consumer awareness about sun safety is rising, and innovations like sticks are part of that, making daily use just easier.
It's fascinating how design can nudge behavior, isn't it? Yeah. And how often making things better for us also makes them better for the planet. Which brings us perfectly to our next segment, sustainable packaging. Okay, next headline. This one's about packaging. Shiseido bottles cosmetics with refillable LiquiForm container to cut plastics. This comes from Packaging Europe. For you listening, how much thought do you give to the environmental footprint of your beauty routine? How important is it when companies make changes like this?
It's becoming a massive consideration for so many people. And Shiseido's move here, adopting this LiquiForm technology for refillable pump dispensers, it's expected to cut their plastic use by about 56%. That's a really significant reduction. And it lines up perfectly with what consumers are asking for, more sustainable options. The environmental pluses of LiquiForm are pretty impressive too. It's this integrated process, right? It combines making the bottle and filling it in one go. That cuts out separate manufacturing steps, and they estimate it lowers CO2 emissions by around 48%. That really shrinks the environmental impact compared to traditional methods. It hints at a more circular way of doing things.
Okay, 56% less plastic, 48% fewer emissions. That's substantial. But is Shiseido an outlier here? Or is this part of a bigger wave in material science, maybe even outside cosmetics?
Oh, it's definitely part of a much bigger trend. What's really exciting is the broader research into sustainable materials. Recent studies, for instance, are exploring bio-based polymers. Things like polyhydroxyl canoates, PHAs for short. They're being looked at for cosmetics packaging. They offer a biodegradable alternative, and some have enhanced properties like better thermal stability. This could open doors for eco-friendly packaging across lots of industries. Using these bio-based materials helps reduce our dependence on fossil fuels. They break down naturally, minimizing waste. It's all about promoting more eco-friendly practices overall.
That feels like a fundamental shift. But I wonder how much of this is really being driven by us, the consumers, demanding change, versus companies just innovating on their own. Is it push or pull?
I'd say it's definitely both, but consumer demand for eco-friendly products is a huge driver right now, a really significant one. Companies like Shiseido, they're clearly responding. They're adopting technologies to cut waste and emissions because it aligns with consumer values and, let's be honest, with tightening environmental regulations too. But, it's not always easy. Implementing these new technologies, it involves big upfront investment costs. There's adapting the tech, making sure it can scale up, getting consumers on board, navigating regulations. These are all real challenges they face in making the switch.
It's a great snapshot of how consumer choice and industry innovation can work together, pushing towards a more sustainable model. Really interesting stuff. So we've talked about what goes on our bodies, what holds the products. But what about the tech that's changing how we move our bodies? Next up, top fitness apps to build in 2025, reported by the Suffolk News Herald. What if your fitness tracker did more than just count your steps? What if it could give you genuinely personalized health insights?
Well, the latest advancements in wearable fitness tech are really trying to do just that. We're seeing much more integration of IoT, Internet of Things services. These allow wearables to collect all sorts of vital info on user activities, behaviors, you name it. It's being applied in health monitoring, fitness tracking, even sports performance. Now, there are still challenges, definitely. Things like reliability, data security, those are ongoing concerns. But there's a lot of work being done to improve things using approaches like universal design and better sensors. Universal design, for example, is about making devices easier for everyone to use, regardless of ability or tech savviness. That improves user acceptance and makes sure the devices are functional for more people, which helps market share too.
Okay, so the tech is getting smarter, but how is it actually changing lives? How does it impact regular people trying to be healthier or even elite athletes?
Wearables can genuinely encourage healthier choices. They track activity, give you biofeedback, they help you set goals, see your progress. You can even share the data with your doctor sometimes for better health management. Just having that continuous monitoring can be really motivating for people to stay active. And for athletes, the impact is huge. Devices like the Whoop tracker used by stars like Cristiano Ronaldo, LeBron James, they measure things like physical strain or recovery levels, sleep quality. They give athletes deep insights into their health, can sometimes even detect early signs of illness, and help them optimize training and recovery. It gives them a real competitive advantage.
But with all this data being collected, that raises the privacy question again, doesn't it? What are the trade-offs here?
Yeah, that's absolutely a critical point. Fitness trackers gather enormous amounts of very personal data, your movements, heart rate patterns, sleep cycles. And yeah, there are big concerns about how companies store this data, how they analyze it, who they might share it with. Data security and user privacy are still major hurdles for the wearable tech industry. It's something they're constantly grappling with. Looking ahead, future research is focused on things like improving data processing for more useful feedback, making devices connect better, definitely strengthening privacy and security through better encryption and user controls, and also expanding applications beyond just fitness into broader health monitoring and even education.
It is really impressive how personalized the insights can be. And speaking of effective training, these devices can help optimize workouts like high-intensity interval training or HIIT, right? What are the benefits there?
Absolutely. Research highlighted by Consumers Research shows HIIT delivers significant benefits, particularly for older adults, actually. We're talking things like a 15 to 20% increase in VO2 max. That's your body's peak oxygen use, a key fitness marker. Also about a 12% improvement in muscle strength, better cognitive function, and even a reduced risk of falls because it improves balance and coordination. So yeah, these devices can really help people track and maximize those kinds of high-impact workouts, giving real-time feedback to push performance safely.
That level of personalized health insight is genuinely game-changing. Okay, for our final topic, let's talk about staying active when the weather, when it doesn't cooperate. The last headline is from Las Vegas Weekly. How to retreat from the summer heat while staying active and fit. This is relatable for a lot of us, right? When it's incredibly hot outside, how do you keep moving without melting?
It's a very common problem. And Consumers Research points to some really effective indoor cardio options, things like stair climbing, even just up and down your own stairs indoor cycling, or something called cardio drumming. These often need minimal equipment and give you a solid aerobic workout, usually at a light to moderate intensity, which you can sustain. The World Health Organization, the WHO, recommends about 2.5 hours of this kind of moderate intensity aerobic exercise each week. That helps reduce risks for cardiovascular disease, stroke, cancer. And get this, even just 11 minutes a day can significantly lower your risk of early death and various diseases. Consistency is really the key.
Okay, so what's the underlying science? What makes this kind of regular, moderate exercise so beneficial? And can we track effectively?
Well, aerobic exercise, or cardio, improves your cardiovascular fitness, obviously. It helps lower the risk of chronic diseases. It even enhances mitochondrial function. Those are the little energy factories inside your cells in your liver and heart, which is crucial for overall health. There's some interesting specific research, too. One study looked at loaded downhill walking. Repeated sessions actually led to adaptations in the muscles and nerves. This made the exercise feel easier later on and lowered the cardiometabolic demand, so your body got more efficient. And on tracking fitness. Researchers have even explored using tiny wearable microphones to estimate your breathing rate just from the sound of your breath during exercise. It seems like a cost-effective way to monitor cardiorespiratory fitness over time with pretty decent accuracy in healthy adults. Could make tracking more accessible.
Cardio drumming. That sounds intriguing. That may be fun. Tell me more about that one.
Yeah, cardio drumming is a really neat option. It basically combines rhythmic drumming motions, often using exercise balls and drumsticks, with aerobic exercise. So you get both cardiovascular and muscular benefits. And the best part, it's super accessible. You don't need any drumming experience. You can do it at home, in a gym, in group classes. It's versatile, engaging, and works for almost any fitness level. It makes exercise feel less like a chore.
That sounds like a fantastic way to mix things up, especially to beat that summer slump when you just don't want to go outside. What are some other practical tips for fitting activity in daily?
Right. To combat that inactivity when it's hot, you can lean on indoor staples, a stationary bike, a treadmill for walking or running, even just consistently using stairs instead of the elevator. These things can be integrated pretty easily into a daily routine, offering that flexibility you need for consistency. And it's important to remember the flip side. What happens if we don't stay active? The health risks are real. Increased chances of chronic diseases like heart disease, obesity. The WHO stats are pretty stark. Over 31% of adults and a staggering 80% of adolescents don't meet the recommended physical activity levels. It really highlights how vital it is to find ways, creative ways sometimes, to keep moving regularly for long-term health.
Absolutely. It underscores that our health is a year-round thing, and we need to find ways to adapt whatever the season throws at us. Wow, okay, that was quite a deep dive today. We've covered so much ground, but it all seems connected by that thread of the conscious consumer and how innovation is responding from, LG skincare secrets and smarter sunscreen sticks to greener packaging, intelligent fitness tech, and even finding fun ways to exercise indoors.
It really shows how much constant innovation is happening across all these consumer areas. And these trends definitely reflect our changing relationship with our own health, with technology, and with the environment. You see how interconnected it all is in our everyday choices. Even small shifts can have big impacts.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive today. And for you listening, here's a thought to chew on. As our world gets more connected, more conscious, as we demand more from the products we buy, how will these trends keep reshaping our lives? What's the next slimy stuff or stick innovation waiting to be discovered? What problem will it solve that maybe we don't even realize we have yet? Definitely something to think about. And remember, stay up to date on all the latest trends and insights. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Consumers 360.